Cameraman Grades, cameramangrades.com. How to film football, training, and professional consultations for camera operators, video coordinators, and sports video professionals at all levels. Find us at cameramangrades.com or contact us directly at cameramangrades@gmail.com to improve your team's coaching video. Currently looking for the best camera operator of the 2025 NFL season. These are the best of the best, and we are putting it to the test. Today we are looking at the Las Vegas Raiders versus the New York Giants, Week 17 of 2025. Been a big fan of the Raiders, no matter where they've been. Oakland, LA, now Las Vegas, and excited to see what they did Week 17. I've seen some indications that the Raiders filmer is very, very good at what he does. So let's just jump right into it and take a look. Yep, and there it is, right? There's evidence to back it up from the very first play. All right, let's see it. All right, got 4 receivers to start. One of them goes to the other side, so we're empty. Looks really good. Nice and tight, both directions. All right. Got a lead blocker, and the handoff goes straight ahead. Makes a ton of sense, right? All right, third down. No, 1st and 10. Straight ahead. Okay, got a guy there, not handing it to him. Dropping back to pass on second and 6. But if we go back here to see this receiver, okay, does he use this frame? Right to the corners, right to the top, right to the sides. This is all so good. Okay. All right. A little bit of motion before the play. Okay. No play. Oof, they went from 3rd and 3 to 3rd and 8. Okay. Kind of a big deal. Let's see if they can convert on this. Yep. Well, yeah. Nobody covering, right? Coaches can use this film to say, hey, can we cover that guy? Right? So that's good that you got that shot to be able to see that. Okay? Nice. Looks really good. Okay? Now I saw some of the crowd in the on the far side, right? But within 10 yards behind the deepest man on this side, within 10 yards still, okay? Within 5 yards behind the quarterback, that makes a ton of sense. Okay? And so you have to be out this wide to be able to see all of this, right? All 22 guys. And they're all part of the play. This quarterback can just heave it down, to the deepest, farthest guy at any given point in this play. So being out that wide makes sense in this case, right? And so many other times people zoom out and it doesn't make any sense, right? Okay. All right. You got a lot of space behind the quarterback. If you can go 2/3, would make a big difference there. But let's just see what they do with it. Okay. They went sideline to sideline. Okay. They've got a receivers coming down this direction. They've got a receiver up at the top of the frame. So they just kind of, take it out to the sidelines and then stop. Right? This receiver is pretty close. And then once they get, to the top of the chains, they stop. Right? And that is really, really good. Okay. Stopping at the top of the chains, about the height of a human, right? Just slightly taller than the human. So just seeing to the top of the chains makes sense. Seeing any farther beyond that makes no sense, right? There's that same player again. Filmer zooms up on him. Okay. Yep. Two no plays in a row seem to be on that same side of the ball at least. All right. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right. Pick a spot in this play. Just pick a point. Right there. It's really good. Right there. It's really good. Got a guy down here. Got a guy up here. Okay, right there. Got a guy here, sideline to sideline. Right? Looks so good. And the defense is looking good because it's 4th and 24. Right? Yep. Awesome. So well done to stay tight on that while everybody's moving down the field. Okay? This is a tight formation. Are we getting tight? Yes, we are. We're staying tight? Yeah. Defense had no part of that, though. Okay? They said, we don't want any of that coming at us. We're going to stop it right there. All right. Pass. Straight drop back. No play action whatsoever. Okay? And does a really good job of getting with the receivers going down the field. All right. Straight drop back. Not expecting any run play out of this at all. Yep. 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 Okay. They've got a little extra space out in front of the safety. Right? Okay. This is a decent amount of space out there within 10 yards. Within 10 yards. Within 10 yards. And then they're coming back in. So, you can cut it down. You can make it tighter. But you can see everything you need to out of that. 4th and 1. Did not get on 3rd down. So, okay, you're never going to use that space behind the punter ever. So, right there is about as far as you need to be. The punter is lined up at the 12-yard line. Okay, so let's see how much motion. It's not till here till you get to the 12. Okay, so you can just start there, right? And then the punter is going to take 2 steps forward. Now we're still within 5 yards of the punter, and we haven't had to move at all to do this. Maybe zoom out a little bit as this guy, but we probably even stay tight in. Let's just take this all the way in tight here. Okay, like that would make a ton of sense. Let's see where this, if we were to set it up tight there on that edge, okay, you'd be right there. And so your edge of your frame down here would be to the 40, okay? So until this guy gets to the 40, until this guy gets to the 37, you don't really have to move at all if you were to frame it up like that. Which is here, okay? So now that's where your frame could have been all along. We could have stayed in this range. Okay. It's a little different because he zoomed out at this point, but we could have reframed it here, down to the 40, okay? And could have stayed right in this range here the entire time until we get to this point, and then zoom out. Okay? Wow. But finding the ball on the far side, perfect. Okay? Zooming up on it, perfect. Cool. It's really good. All right, 1st and 10, going the other way. fairly tight setup, tight formation. Okay. Run recognition immediately. I'd love to be able to see the safety on the backside. Just a couple more steps here. He just drops him out immediately, recognizing the run and coming in on it, which is fine. But if you can just adjust over and keep him in the shot just a little bit longer, always helps to see how he changes directions to come back this way. All right. If you can see that and keep him in the shot and not move your camera at all, is ideal. And then just let everybody watch it. Stay tight and let everybody watch it. What happened on the frame? This is perfect. Okay, right there. Guy here. Guy here. All right. To get there, he's got about 5 yards behind the quarterback. Okay. Yeah. Looks really good. Okay, 3rd and 5, passing down. Within 10 yards behind the quarterback, using that frame well. And then top to bottom, they had receivers going sideline to sideline. So zoom out to get to the sidelines. All right, you got 2 referees behind the play. The first time I ever talked with a NFL video coordinator, I've seen enough video over the years from the NFL. I had to stop him and say, hey, quick question. Are you guys required to film the referees behind the quarterback? And he said, absolutely not. That they shouldn't be filming the quarterback, the referees behind the quarterback. But I see it so often in the NFL that I had to ask the question, right? And there's no reason for it, and you can just cut them out. All right, you can cut this down 2/3. Okay. You got 4 guys in that 1/3, but 3 of them are vacating that space, and the quarterback's going to stay there. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and now they're gone, right? And now the offensive line is starting to fill into that frame, but you can see how much farther back he went is not that much, not what we had lined up to start, and not what we're going to use for the rest of this frame. You could really cut it down to the 15, right? 15-yard line would be plenty of space behind the quarterback. You might say, hey, it's good to keep some space behind the quarterback. Yeah, it is, because he's going to drop back, right? And he always does. Almost 99% of the time, he's going to drop back into some amount of space behind where he lined up. So that makes sense. Leave some space. Are we leaving 15 yards behind the quarterback? Does that make sense? Are we leaving 30 yards behind the quarterback? Does that make sense, right? So if you take that same plan, say, oh, well, we're going to use, we're going to leave 8 yards behind him, 10 yards behind him. Why? Okay. If he's only going to drop back 2 yards, why would we leave 8 yards behind him? Okay. And by doing that, again, it's just that space always goes somewhere. Okay, and I'll show you where it's at. It's there. This is where the frame could be, and that leaves about 80%. Okay, leaves about 20% of your frame unused, and that's just all this extra space along the edges. All right, 80% is like a B, right? B level work. If you're going by, typical grading standards, so there's room to improve it. This is A level stuff, right? 90 to 95%, 95 to 100%, A plus, right? Within 5 yards total, both sides of the frame here, A level work, 95%. Okay. 8 yards behind the quarterback's not going to get used. He's only using 2. Looks good. 4th and 1, tight formation. going straight ahead, trying to get 1 yard. Oh, what a run. When he completely stopped, I was like, oh, he's stuffed. No, he was just waiting to find that hole, and he did. Man, great job. And great job by the filmer, staying in tight. He knew on 4th and 1 our team runs straight ahead. On 1st and 10, we roll out, right? Right. Yeah, yeah. And the Giants knew that too, apparently. So, great job. Man. Well, where was the ball going? Who knows, right? There's interesting, you know, mesh points going on. This is a little tap to the motion man, tap, tap, tap-a-roo coming around, tap, and then the fake handoff to this guy coming this direction. Does that affect any of these defenders? Does it affect this defender thinking that the ball's coming this direction? Let's see, right? Because the filmer's spot on, absolutely perfect on this, right? Let's see what these defenders do from this point forward, now thinking that this might be a run this direction. Yeah, pulled this guy this direction, not this one. He saw it, right? But this linebacker is coming over here thinking that he's making a play, and the ball's going the opposite way. Okay? And you see it because the filmer nailed it, absolutely nailed it. And the coaches can see it, and they can say, wow, what can we do to make that work even better? And the linebackers coaches can say, hey, what can we do to make sure that you're not biting on that play fake going the other direction? Or maybe that they're saying that's your guy regardless whether he's got the ball or not. Let's make sure that you stay with him, right? And in that case, the linebacker was spot on perfect. Okay? Is the filmer spot on perfect right in here? Pretty close. Pretty dang good. Pretty spot on. Okay, gaining a little bit of space at this point. But makes a ton of sense that they were that good that entire play. Let's go. Lining up. Getting tight. Tight formation, tight framing. Straight ahead. Run recognition. If you're not familiar with the term, it's when you recognize that there's a run, and as a filmer, that's important, right? As a defensive player, it's important to know recognize when it's a run or a pass, right? But as a filmer, it's important to know, do I need to zoom out with any guys running down the field? Is anybody running down the field, right? Is anybody running to the end zone that I need to, zoom out with? Not even close, right? Not even a little bit. There's nobody going within a yard of the line of scrimmage. They're all cramming it in here and shoving the ball straight ahead and trying to break through that line and bust into the end zone. Okay? So, does the filmer zoom out? No. Does the filmer move the camera? No. Am I able to watch every single one of these players do exactly what they do so that they can make adjustments as needed? Yes. And is that not the point, right? Okay. So many times I see people just at snap of the ball, they just zoom out. It might be a pass, so I'm just going to zoom out. Well, is it? Right? Is there anything that is happening on the field that's actually making you think that it's a pass? Or was exactly what happened, exactly what you needed to see already in your frame, and you don't have to do anything, right? A little bit of zoom in at the end just to make sure that they see even more detail. That's fantastic. Yep. Oh, okay. Well, before we get to where the direction that this ball's going, let's just look at what happens when you're not in a tight formation and there are guys running down the field, okay? Because it's not a tight formation, it's top to bottom. It's as tight as they can get, right? It is spread out, but they're not zoomed out, any farther than what they need to be. And guess what happens? All because they've got extra space all the way to the end zone. They don't have a ton of space behind the quarterback. They're putting more space behind the defense to the end zone, and now they don't have to zoom out again because it's already still all in the frame, right? They're gonna have to zoom out for? This guy going to the corner of the end zone. Okay. Until that happens, they don't have to zoom out. And the ball's already away, and the Giants have the best jump on it possible and are taking it back the other direction. But once the Giants get the ball, you can see this guy's right here on the edge, right? They did it perfectly up until this point. Let's see what happens now that it's chaos and now that absolutely anything is going on the field and it's going the complete opposite direction. Let's see how they shift their mindset. Oh, yeah, going back this way. Okay, let's get in to see some of these blocks being thrown. Yep. Okay, probably don't need to zoom in any further than this right now. Let's go ahead and see the blocks. Let's see how he's going to break loose and get to the end zone, if at all. Nope, he's getting tackled. Okay, perfection. Raiders, right? Like I said, from the opening kickoff, pretty dang good. It's pretty dang good. Empty. Framing, pretty dang tight. Quarterback, pretty dang throw. And the tackle is pretty dang amazing. All right, so, okay, doesn't vacate, just turns and stands there. Interesting. Okay, he's wide open, right? You can throw it to him, but we're going here. We're going for the chains, right? We're going to move the chains at this point, and right on the edge, within 5 yards back here. Bam, bam, bam. Pretty dang perfect. Let's go. Line it back up. Do it again. Play after play after play. Nobody's stopping you from doing it this well on every single play. So why not just go ahead and do it this well on every single play? That's the Raiders' mindset. That's what the filmer's doing right now. And you can see it. Right? Nobody's stopping him. Go ahead and get tight. This guy in motion. He's just going back where he started. Okay, within 5 yards, both directions. Staying with it. Okay. Probably don't need to zoom out as much as you do on this one. Because the ball's coming towards you, everybody's condensing down this direction. Right? You're gaining more space back here. You're gaining more space back here. And then once the running back pops out, is zooming out again, right? And that just gains more space out here and more space back here. And really, you could just be framing it up right in here. Okay, you're already dropping out these guys on the backside, so if I were to suggest that you should have done that already, to keep it tight like this, would make a ton of sense, right? And so let's just go ahead and do that. Measure that up. You're less than 70% on this. Okay. All right. But right here, this is the meat of the play here. This is where it really makes a difference as to where all these blocks are being thrown, because that's how he breaks it loose in the first place, right? And at that point, 90%, right? 88%, right? And at this point, 88%, 90%, right? Okay? That's all looking really good, right? Whatever happens after that, pretty inconsequential to make sure you keep everybody in the shot. I really like what they did up until that point, so just go with that. Tight formation, tight setup, lead blocker, straight ahead, right into the end zone. Let's see what happens. Yeah, let's go. Okay. When I say it's straight ahead, I don't mean it's actually straight ahead. It might be off tackle, it might be to the edge, but From a filmer's perspective, it's not going outside of your frame. It's not going to the corner of the end zone, right? It's staying within your frame, and you've got a lead blocker and the guy following him that are going as close as straight to the end zone as they possibly can, wherever that hole's at, right? And that's all I need to know as a filmer. Okay, I don't need to know the specifics as to how that block is being thrown, or how the offensive line is the blocking scheme that they're using to get that guy to the end zone. I just need to know that that's the direction that he's headed, and let the coaches see what needs to happen in order to make that happen. Okay, here you got a lot of space behind the running back, and you've got the kicker on this side who's getting involved, in quotes, okay, in the shot, right? He's there in case he needs to make a tackle, which is great. All right, but this is kind of where I want to see sooner, instead of leaving all that space behind earlier in the shot. Okay. All right, here we go. Lining it back up again. Great framing, nice and tight, motion, a little bit of zooming out, make sure that nobody's running off your frame, and then coming back in. Looks good. Okay, this looks like a pass. It looks like a no play. Okay. I'm going to guess it would have been a pass, just so that I could say I was right on that one, right? It's either a run or a pass. It's a 50-50 toss-up, and then there's tendencies that come out of situations and formations, right? So I'm going to say this is a pass. Yep. Okay. If I'm filming this game, I'm looking at that and saying, out of this formation, on 2nd and 5, do I expect this to be a pass, yes or no? Okay. And so I'm expecting pass. And then if it's a run, if he hands it off, I'm ready for it. Okay. I can make that adjustment. This is a pass all day long. Okay. I have no doubt in my mind that that's what this is going to be. Wow. Catch. Let's go. Okay. Awesome. Okay. All right. Let's see here. In this frame, what happens? A little bit of zooming out to make sure you're not dropping anybody out, but everybody's crashing. Everybody saw that play happening right away. Okay. Space behind the running back, about 5 yards. Space behind the safety, about 5 yards. A little bit of zooming out and coming back in on run recognition. All right, lining it up again, nice and tight. Medium tight formation. Following the extra blocker on that side, and so did the Giants. Okay, really good. 2nd and 11. Empty. It's pass all day long. Perfect. Okay. The filmer knew it was going to be a pass, saw it was going to be a pass, saw the formation and the situation, and of course he's, ready for it. Same with this, 3rd and 6. Right? Giants were ready for it. But awesome job. 4th and 8. Kicking a field goal? Sure are. Kick is away. Perfect framing. No reason to make any adjustments, so they didn't. Perfect. Drop the kicker immediately. Get down to see it. Okay. Did we actually see where the ball landed? That would be the one thing, they bring this over right away, which is great. Put it on the edge there. Yep, there's the ball. Okay. I know that that ball traveled right to there. Okay. Based on this film. And now I see exactly framed up within 5 yards of the front line here. And now as these guys start to sprint down the field, as these guys start to engage them, I can see all of this. I can see the returner. I can start to zoom in. Of course, it goes into the end zone, so none of that happens, right? You don't need to zoom out on it, right? In this case, because the ball bounced out of the end zone, they might have zoomed out. But you can just stay in tight. Once you saw that the ball went into the end zone, that's a touchback. So, all right, great job. Okay, am I expecting anything other than perfection from this? Absolutely not. Perfect. Third and 1. So tight. 3 yards, both sides. Okay. A little bit of zoom out right at the snap. Okay. All right. So as much as I've said about, not zooming out at the snap of the ball, uh, you just see it just a little bit, just a moment, right? And they recognize, hold on a second, that's not necessary here. Just barely, just for a moment, right? Not needed. Okay. There's no action heading that direction that you would need to zoom out for. Okay? On the whole, I'm going to just ignore the fact that the zoom out even happened because that whole play was really well done. Run coming towards you, everybody's filling that frame perfectly. This is perfect. Bam. 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 Still. Ball's away. Guys got the ball, and we're still right within 1 yard total, both sides. And now we're coming in. Wow. Oh, chaos. Okay. Not the way that play was supposed to go. All right. Does it phase this filmer one bit? Not even a little bit. Okay. This is perfect as the last play. Oh, look at all this string of perfection right here. All right, here we go again. Is it a pass? Yeah. How do I know? Because it's a pass. Look at this. What do you expect to happen here? There's one thing that could happen: this running back running this direction, or the quarterback draw, right? So the one thing that could happen is either of these two things. So the running back going this way happens on occasion. It's not the best option because this guy can step up and make a play, right? And so the best option is to run the receivers in every direction and then throw the ball to whoever's open. That makes sense, and that's what they do. Exactly what they do, right? And how do I know? Because bam, bam, all day long. Look at this. It's perfection, right? Okay, pause. Am I thinking pass on this? Not with a lead blocker. You got two backs in the backfield. Okay, it's possible that both of them are blocking for the quarterback. I might be able to look at the offensive line and say they're looking to pass as opposed to run. But right now, I'm looking at these two guys. Just initially, my initial thought was, oh, they've got a lead blocker. They're looking to run. Oh, play action. Okay, sweet. Okay, but fooled me, fooled the defense. stuck the linebacker inside to make sure that, he's stepping up as if that was going to be a run. And now he's out of position to make a play on this guy if he's going to cut back at all. All right. So there you go. Wow. Okay. Giants are like, we just want to go ahead and score now. Okay. Top to bottom, you got some room to tighten this up if you need to. But they are seeing to the sidelines here. So if this receiver runs to the sidelines, you get to see it, right? And they're not filming any farther than that. If he does run all the way to the back corner of the end zone, they're going to have to zoom out. If this guy runs to the back corner of the end zone, you're going to have to zoom out. Do they need to do that right now? No, absolutely not. Okay, they do anyway, right? A little bit of zoom out right there at the snap, right? So if you can avoid that and just, either frame it up this way to start, or, cut this down, give them some more space to this direction so you don't have to make that knee-jerk zoom out at the snap. Right? Okay? Now putting it in the box, if we were to measure this out, if you're going to be really tight, they're at 80%, right? This is B-level work. Not bad. Okay, quarterback's running straight up the middle. Do we see that? Yep. And then look at, they stopped their zoom out, waited to see what happens, and then come back in to get a more detailed shot. Really well done, right? And, that's marked as a positive play in the grand scheme of things. It's 80% of your frames being used. That's pretty decent. And limiting the zoom out, limiting the mistake of zooming out too far or any farther beyond that goes a long way. And it's, shows up as a positive in the positive column. Just the simple difference between that and, oops, I'm just going to have to zoom out to make sure that I keep all this in the shot, and then I end up seeing the crowd and the cheerleaders on the far side and the photographers and the equipment managers and all that. Oh my goodness, let's go. All right. Wow. Okay. I saw all of it. This guy on this edge. We keeping him in the shot? We sure are. Yeah. This guy within 5 yards? Yeah. What's going on back here? Well, this guy didn't bite on any play fake whatsoever. He's coming hard. Whoopsh. Let's go. He's got the little finger waving in the air. Nuh-uh. Can't do that on me. Okay. Okay, top to bottom, sideline to sideline. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, got a receiver there, got a receiver here. Okay, got some more space behind the quarterback. But top to bottom looks really good. Okay, so when I mention the space behind the quarterback, it's always something that you can cut down, right? You can always tighten it up from there. But, they're using a lot of this space already. Okay, less than 90%, right? And it's just a matter of, if you're going to have less than 90% at the snap, what are you going to do with that space? Are you going to zoom out to keep this 8 yards behind the quarterback? Are you going to zoom out to get more yards behind the safety and then end up shrinking everybody down in the middle? Or are you going to allow people to fill this frame from this point forward? Okay. They allowed the quarterback to fill this edge, right, within 5 yards. gaining a little bit of space, right? So that's why I say if you have the space behind the quarterback to start, it's going to go somewhere, right? If you can cut it down before the play, you cut it out for the majority of the play. If you don't have that extra space behind the quarterback to start, if you're gonna gain space behind the safety, you're adding to it, not just transferring it from behind the quarterback, right? And at this point, this is perfect framing. Okay. But again, within 80, 85 to 90%, it's decent. It's pretty good. Can it be better? Yeah. Is there room for improvement? Always. Okay. I haven't seen anybody do it perfect from the beginning to the end of every game. I've seen people get pretty dang close. Right? Okay. Drop out this guy to show extra up here. I wouldn't. If you just keep it to the top of the chains, and then now you still see this guy at least for another second or so as you start to pan up. Okay. Fourth and 14. Good. Very tight behind the punter. You can tighten it down even more than that, right? Which they do. Right? Okay. So you can see they've got the camera moving before the punt's even away. Right? They've got the extra yards behind the punter. And then right there, that's where the punter started. So they're already moving before the punt's even away. And then they dropped out, the one guy that they would be back there for would be this guy, right? Just go ahead and, set it up there and leave it for an extra second. And then you would still have another 8 yards before this person gets to the edge here before you'd start to have to move out one way or the other. Okay. Do we see where the ball landed? Yep, sure did. Okay. Cool. That looks really good. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Every step along the way, this guy's going this direction, this guy's coming this direction, this guy's going this direction. There's guys up here that are, stepping across. So every step along the way, you can see how that changes the framing and how the filmer responds to it. They zoomed out a little, realized that it was a run. They're not going to need to zoom out any further. Stop their zoom out, and then come back in. Again, and now, that little bit of zoom out wasn't detrimental to their frame. They still got a guy in the shot here. They still got a guy in the shot here. Okay. They're still all 22, and that looks really, really good. Okay. Empty. Runner pass. On 2nd and 5. Pass. Across the middle. Got the first down. Framing wise. Okay. Yes. Top to bottom. Okay, here, pretty good. Okay, within 10 yards, within 10 yards. Ball's away, right there. Filling in, stopping your zoom and allowing people to fill in that frame. Within 5 yards, within 5 yards, right? We went from within 8 yards in both directions to now within 3 yards in both directions. That's positive. That means you did something correctly to get to this point. And then there's the zoom in. Okay. All right. Here we go again. Within 5 yards, both directions. Okay. Oh, but I saw the crowd. Yeah, well, you did, but, there's a guy here within, 8 yards of the safety. They're within 5 yards behind the quarterback, right? Ball's away, right? At this point, still got that 8 yards in front of the safety. Not a terrible decision. Okay, now we're within 5 yards. Now that they stopped their zoom because the ball's away, everybody's going to stop and change direction and go find where that ball went. And that's exactly what they do. This safety was running with this guy, stopped, and came back this way. This guy coming this way, this guy coming this way, this guy. All these players coming this way, and guess what they're doing? They're zooming in to tighten up on that frame. Okay? Now, in doing so, you can keep more players in the shot this way if you're limiting to the sideline top of the chains up there. Yeah. Number 17's pumped. As well he should be. Okay? That's awesome. Run. Okay. Alright, what's different here? Run. Okay. Are their knuckles white? Probably. Right? They're going forward. Okay, if you've ever seen Invincible, there's a point where they, you can't figure out whether it's a pass or a run, and you're looking at the knuckles from that point forward. Okay, he's got a guy 1 yard behind him or half a yard behind him, so he can take the handoff if he's going that direction, and that's exactly what happens. Right now, in doing so, are you going to leave the inspired change at the top and drop the players at the bottom? I wouldn't. Right? Recognizing that these guys are running, somewhat of a route here in case that quarterback does want to keep it. You can keep those guys in the shot without having to zoom out at all. All you got to do is just move down with them, right? And then, then go find the ball after that. Okay? Pass. Nope, run. Same play. Okay? Alright. Saw it very similar. I was just thinking, okay, we just did this exact same play. I'm not thinking they're going to run it 2 times in a row. Fairly rare that they would, right? So I'm thinking maybe they're going to do the same thing, but do play action off of it, right? You got a guy more in a pass set compared to the last time when he has his hand down in the ground. But you can see the difference, right? Any moving it, zooming out? Not really. Barely. Okay? So good. Empty. Nope, not empty. Single back. Okay? 2 backs. Okay? For pass protection for the quarterback. Because he's going to be passing it. 3rd and 5, I'm saying it's pass. Yep. Okay? Okay, I can guess it right 50% of the time between run or pass. Perfect. Perfect. Okay? Do you think the filmer was fooled by the fact that this was a pass on 3rd and 5 from this formation? Okay, absolutely not. Does anybody have their hand in the ground looking to run block? Absolutely not. Right? Just makes sense. Bam. 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 So good. That is so good. Every step along the way. I told you. This Raiders filmer knows what he's doing. Tight formation. Getting in tight. Oh, got him to jump. Let's go. 4th and 1. No, it's 1st and 10. Let's go. Okay. No play. He was ready for it. Pass. Yep. Is it perfect? Yes. Again. Bam. Bam. Spot on. Right on the edge. Absolutely flawless all the way through. Then go find the ball. Psh. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Empty. Pass. Yeah. Quarterback draw. Maybe. Pass. Yeah. Movement on this close side tackle. Probably. Right. Okay, is it perfect? Probably. To the edge? Yep. To this edge? Pretty close. Okay, got guys running this way? Yes. Right back to the edge again. So good. When I grow up, I want to film like the Raiders. Okay? And I want my team to be able to improve off of that. That's how good it is. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Awesome. I gotta go to my thesaurus to find, more synonyms for amazing, fantastic, perfect. Okay. People that are much smarter than me have a vocabulary that can fill in the gaps. Okay. Filling in the gaps. There's a gap up here. There's a guy down here that's running off the frame. Okay. And then they say, oh, I should probably keep him in. Yeah, you absolutely should, right? But you should make that determination here before he does that, right? And if you're going to leave this space to the corner, that's fine. Zoom out to keep this guy in the shot, or come down to keep him in the shot. But this is a chaos play, right? This ball was probably meant to be thrown before this, and he just couldn't find the right guy. He's got a guy breathing down his neck, so he decides to scramble around, and go find somebody to throw the ball to. Okay. But right here, this is pretty dang good. Right? It took a minute to get there. We dropped a guy in the meantime. But once we got to here, they stopped, fixed the problem, and then go find the ball. That's really good. Okay. Taking off for having a guy run off the bottom edge there, but limiting that mistake and not allowing it to affect the rest of your frame. Okay? Limiting how far you go to the top of your frame. You got a guy to go into the far sideline. Bam. His helmet is right on the edge. Okay? You're not cutting him off. Okay? You got space to this side. Got a guy on this side. You got, top to bottom. You can go sideline to sideline. If they're running to the end zone, you do not have to zoom out from here at all. Zooming in to go find him. Really, really good. 4th and 14. What do you do? Take your points. Okay? Kicking it. Looks really good. No reason to make any adjustments after that. Kick off. Yeah. Looks good. Kicker never got into the shot. Okay. Never saw him, but I did see the guys at the bottom of the frame that were, manhandling each other. Looked like neither one of them was going to let go after the play. Okay. Again, I could just go frame by frame. A yard. 2 yards. A yard. 2 yards. Okay, 3 yards. 2 yards. And then go find the ball. Psh. If they could all be that good. Looks so good. This is why I got excited at the start of this game, right? Putting the Raiders film in and being like, oh yeah, I'm in for a treat. Right? This filmer's got what it takes to do this so well. Okay, 1st and 15. Looks really good. Nice. Nice job. Okay. Wanted the flag. Got the flag. Yep. Okay. So they're just leaving a little more space and then they're using it really well. And again, you don't have to be the tightest filmer if you're using the space well. You got 8 yards behind the quarterback, but do you use it? Yeah. Now it's down to 3 yards behind the quarterback, right? And 4 yards behind the safety, right? I love it, right? So many times I see somebody line up and they line up with 8 yards behind the quarterback, and the first thing they do is zoom out to make 15 yards behind the quarterback or 20 yards behind the quarterback. It makes no sense, right? So they've got some extra space back there and they use it really, really well. And that's a positive play, right? That's good. Um, and what they did with it was expert level stuff at that point, right? Um, you don't have to be within a yard of the back of the quarterback, right? It's okay to be reasonable with it. Just use it well and make sound decisions from that point forward. Oh, goodness. 44. What a big hit. So glad that I got to see that. Okay. Thank you, filmer, for expertly showing that on film. And I'm sure 44 appreciates it as well. Okay. It's in his highlight reel because that was awesome. Okay. Top to bottom. Okay. Yep. 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 Okay. Let's just throw the box on this just to see how much of this space they're actually using. It's a significant amount, right? I'm even getting really tight to the top and bottom of those players. And that is 95% of your frame. Okay? That's A+ level work. Right? Awesome. Going again, lining it up. Okay, 2/3. Yeah, pretty close. Okay. Okay, top to bottom, sideline to sideline. Looks really good. Tight formation. Tighten frame. Perfect. Perfect all along. Bam, bam, bam. Wow. Wow. Okay. Here's the guy catching the ball. Where did he come from? I don't know. I was watching the side of the frames, right? But if I want to go back and watch this guy run this route expertly, probably from this position, no, it was this guy. No, it was this guy. Where did he come from? Right? He's here. All right? There he is. There he is. Right? So he starts here, and he's kind of in the mix, right? And there's kind of a jumble of players here. Let's see how he gets out into his route. Oh, that's pretty, right? Defender, you know, gets turned around a little bit, right? Maybe that's the right way to do it. Maybe he can turn the other direction and stay tighter. I'll let the coaches make that determination. But I saw absolutely every bit of that. And not only that, I saw this, right? I saw this safety making the same, that same turn. So is that the correct technique for those defensive backs? Probably, right? I've seen defensive backs do it the opposite direction. I've seen them do it both ways, and the coaches can coach it however they want, but they can coach it perfectly based off of this video. Right? Puts his foot in the ground, comes this direction. Man, great job. Okay. Okay, this is perfect framing. There's no reason to make any adjustments here. Let's see if they make any adjustments here. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, right there. They're keeping these guys in the shot. I'd probably just leave it and then just follow. As this guy comes this direction, just leave the frame right where it's at. If they want to stay in this frame, they've got to do the work to stay in it, right? Right? And because if you're going to zoom out, you're going to gain space somewhere, right? Zooming out, and you're zooming out to keep this guy in the shot. He's, if he's making an impact on this play, it's not, I'm not seeing it, right? So coming here and getting to the ends, the sideline here, and then stopping. All right, looks really good though. And they got the first down, and they're going to keep the ball, and they're going to keep moving down the field. Okay. Pitch to the far side. Okay. Yeah. Great example. Okay, what I said about dropping guys out on the backside of the play last time, this guy is actively engaging with this defender here, and we're dropping him out, right? So it's not like unheard of to drop guys out on the backside of the play. These guys are still back behind the play. They're getting dropped out, and we're zooming in tight, right? You can probably keep some of this in the play. I mean, right about here, right? These guys are kind of on the ground. This guy's walking, jogging. These guys can stay in the frame at this point, right? So it's not unheard of to drop guys out behind the play. It makes a ton of sense. It's just a matter of when are you making that decision, and do you need to zoom out to keep them in the shot? I would say no, for sure, because you're going to affect. Do you need to zoom in to cut them out? Also no, right? But if you're going to zoom out just to keep them in the shot while it's affecting my ability to see the lead blockers and the guys running down the field, that's where I would say, hold on a second, let's focus on where the play is actually going, right? And if it means that those guys get dropped out, that's fine. But let's not just, zoom out to keep them in the shot when they're not actually engaging in the play at that point. Okay? Beautiful. So good. Okay? Empty. 3 to the right, 2 to the left, and zooming out, okay? Within 7 yards there, within 3 yards there, 10 yards total. Not bad. Okay? Similar here. Look at that. So good. All right? And then there. So at this point, that's where I say, we don't need to show all this if we're going to be dropping this out. Just go ahead and put the top of the frame to the top of the chains, and then you'll see this, right? Looks really good though. Tight formation. All right, run, pass. I'm going to say this is a pass. So even though it's a tight formation, I'm expecting these running receivers to be running routes. Maybe here, maybe here, maybe here. Just in the back of my mind, I'm planning for that, right? But let's wait to see what happens. Nope, handoff right up the middle, right? And the filmer did the correct thing in not zooming out, seeing it. Oh, so good. Very little movement, very little, if any, zooming. You can't really do it much better than that. Okay, lead blocker. I'm going to say roll out. Nope, handoff again. Okay. All right. If this quarterback is keeping it and coming this direction, rolling out with these guys, you've got two receivers going that way. You can keep up with it. And you clearly see that that was not the case, that he handed off, and now this is where the play's going. And look at that. Guy's still in the shot, right? But we're focusing on the running back going straight ahead, and there it is. Wow. Okay. Can I be right this time and say it's a pass? Yeah. 3rd and 5. Maybe it should have been a run, right? Holy smokes. Okay, so the Raiders knew it was going to be a pass. Right? The filmer knew it was going to be a pass. And, great way to complete a pass here is to go to the corner of the end zone, right? Maybe they're saying, hey, we're up 17-3 right here. A field goal's not a bad decision. If we can just take one shot to the corner of the end zone, if our guy catches it, it's a touchdown. If he misses it, it's an incomplete pass and we kick the field goal, right? And a lot of times that's the decision, the thought process for coaches. And they throw it to the corner of the end zone, and it's an incomplete pass. Okay? How do I know that that's the thought process for coaches? Because they've told me, they said that's why we do this the way we do it. Right? If we can get a touchdown, that's great. If we can kick the field goal and get, go up another 3, be up 17 points, that's a really good situation as well, right? Just about perfect on that. Almost missed the ball coming down, but they did not. And I saw it, and I can count it. It's miss by an inch, miss by a mile, right? If you don't see it, it could be anywhere. If you do see it, even by an inch, it counts, right? So, boom. Oh man, the safety. Oh, the safety. Oh, we just stepped off. Wow. Keeping up with him, though, and the ball's away at that point, we'll count it. That safety stays on that edge the entire time and then hits it just there for a brief second. Pretty dang good. Handoff? Oh, yeah. Wow. The run recognition makes a huge difference here. Right? He's zooming out and... Oh, no, it's a run. Stop. Zoom back in. So good. Dang. Let's go. Okay, handoff. Barely. There you go. Tight formation. Tight setup. Okay. Does the safety hit the edge? Nope. Okay. Look at that footwork. Okay. Why is it important that the safety doesn't hit the edge? Because look at the footwork on the safety. Okay. He's able to change directions. Right? Is there anything he can do to be better at that? Probably not. Right? Looking pretty dang good. And then recognizing this run coming this direction. Okay. And then stepping up and then making a play to get off of this blocker. Right, there is a blocker coming to stop him. He ain't stopping that safety. Okay, and then there's quarterback on this side. You got a guy on this side. Really as good as you could possibly do on this. Yeah. 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 Let's go. The Raiders. Lining up again. Run recognition was immediate. Saw it immediately. Kept the quarterback in the shot as if there might be a rollout off of that, but there was not. Empty pass. Right? It could be a run, but who are you handing it off to? Right? Nobody. And guess what? The filmer wasn't expecting a run. He saw it. You could see it. Right? And then they wait to see where are these guys running before I start zooming out. Let's see. Oh, yep. There's a pause, right? From the snap of the ball. Right there. Right? Okay. Now we're starting to move. Now we're starting to see the players running into routes. Now we're keeping it close on the edge of the frame like we have been the entire play. Now we're gaining a little space that wasn't really necessary, but keeping everybody in the shot top to bottom still pretty good. Awesome. Okay. Going again. Run. Run coming towards you. Okay. Do they zoom out? No. No, they don't. Do they need to? Absolutely not. Right? The run's coming towards you. All this is condensing. They have to zoom in, right? And they do. Right there. Okay, 5 yards both directions. Quarterback's still in the shot. Safety's condensing. Everybody's condensing on the ball carrier. Looks really good. Third and 11. Different situation. Are we running? Probably not. Got a back there? Doubt it. He's there to block. Okay, this quarterback's dropping back, throwing a pass. Yep. Awesome. So good. So good. Right? Filmer's not expecting a run, he's expecting a pass. Is everybody perfectly in the shot? Absolutely. Right there. The post. Still in the shot. Right there. Still available. Right? This is all still right here. The ball's away. The ball, the guy the receiver that caught the ball is right there. And there it is. So good. Five yards, both directions. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Dang. Okay, so if you're gonna zoom out, okay, you gotta zoom out, right? You gotta zoom out with this play. Obviously, everybody's running every direction, including the quarterback with the ball, scrambling out. Okay, still 5 yards. Still 5 yards. Okay, this guy's going down here, but the quarterback's up here. Do we expect him to run to the back corner of the end zone at this point? No. He's stopping, and he's probably going to come this direction at some point. He might just sit back here. There's a guy sitting back here in case the quarterback needs to dish it off and come this way. But this is 4th and 2. They need to get the yards, right? They need to get back to the line of scrimmage and then gain 2 more yards from there. And he's so far from the line of scrimmage at this point, he's got to be looking for a pass. So this guy comes down to this bottom corner, and look at that. No worry or knee-jerk reactions from this filmer. He's got him. Okay, I've got him. He's not going anywhere else. I'm just gonna keep him right there, still within 5 yards behind the quarterback. Right. Ball's away. Great conversion. Nice job. Right. And why is the Raiders converting on this? Probably because the filmer is showing them how to do it every single play, right? Every single day of every single practice, every single game. They're coming back in during the week and saying, hey, how do we convert on 4th and 2? Let's draw up a new play, right? Let's run it this way. Let's do something different. How do we know that? Because the filmer is showing us exactly what is taking place on the field and what we need to do to adjust. Now, what the coaches and players do with that information is up to them, right? But if you're going to base your improvement off of what you did last week, and you need to be able to see it, this is the way to do it. Okay, again, no motion, no movement whatsoever. Nothing, nothing. Everybody's still in the frame. Okay? Okay, changing directions. Now we're coming forward. Okay, zooming out to keep up with this guy makes sense. Okay, if you're going to keep him in, you can drop out this space down here would make sense, but at that point they were just focused on the quarterback, which makes sense. 3rd and 4. Okay, the run didn't get you the touchdown. Maybe the pass will. Nope. Man, they sent everybody, didn't they? Okay, 4th and 4. Going for it. Right? We don't want the points. We want the touchdown. We don't want 3. We want 6. We'd rather have 7. And there it is. To the post. Okay? To the goal post. Is everybody in the shot? Yep. Is everybody tight? Pretty close. Corner of the end zone? Yep. Stopped. Okay. Behind the quarterback? No space. To the post. Touchdown. Beautiful. Really, really good stuff. Awesome. Lining up the extra point. Shake it out. Boot it through. No movement. Perfect framing. Some stuff going on down there. Okay. I saw it. And no zooming out or anything like that. So, great job. This, pan over. So tight. Right? Once we get to this point, once the ball, where's the ball, is caught at the 5-yard line. Okay? Within 7 yards, 5 yards behind the front line. Now, can we tighten, condense down with this at the speed at which all these players are running to this spot? This guy's running this way. These guys are running this way. They're probably going to collide all right here. So let's see how tight we can stay with it. Pretty dang tight, right? Wow. Within 5 yards. Now, this is all 22 guys. This is the kicker, right? He's back. That works. You better get running, right? Oh, no. No. All right. Preserve your legs. You're going to need them. You're the kicker. Okay. That works. Wow. You really couldn't film that much better than that. Awesome. All right. 4 straight special teams in a row. Kind of unique situation. There's the, yep, no run back. Perfect framing. Perfect zooming in. Man, I mean, a strength, aside from everything else, is how good they are on special teams, which is a whole different ball game. All right, let's just go back here. Right here, okay? Within 3 yards, within 5 yards. Okay, ball's away. Still within 5 yards, still within 5 yards. Okay, quarterback gets knocked down, right? I saw that. Now I'm seeing that everybody's changing direction, coming to find the ball, and zooming in with that. Okay. All right. If you can keep these guys in the shot, if you're going to drop anybody, drop the guys behind the play. Quarterback included. But looks good. Really, really, really well done. Really great. Draw. Okay. Just a level of expertise each and every play. You know, when they're zooming out, they're doing it in such a measured way to stay up with the guys at the speed at which they're running down the field. Same way here. Okay, spread out the receivers on this one and throw the long ball. Okay, now how do they keep up with that? As good as anything else, right? Look at that. Dang. Top to bottom, sideline to sideline. Where's the ball? Going to the sideline. Going to this guy down here. Going to find it. So good. Third and 6. Uh-oh. Ball's going the other direction. Before we find that, let's just see at the widest point here. Okay. Within 10 yards. Then zoom in from there. Change in direction. Okay. Yes. Alright. So, right here. Okay, this ball carrier is in relation to the rest of the players on the field. They're here. Instead of centering him and showing a bunch of the sidelines and all that, we're showing where the action is. We're seeing this guy come running, screaming back down the field to make this play behind him. Right? There's the ball carrier. Here's the center of the frame. Right? I love this. Okay? There's still all this action here. Now they're moving this direction to show who's out in front. Right? Looks really, really, really good. Well done. Alright. Ball's going the other way. Must have been a penalty somewhere along the line. Hold, tag, blocking the back, something like that. It's top to bottom. Okay? Top to bottom, sideline to sideline. Bam, bam. Okay, everybody's in the frame. So good. I mean, you can draw up, the way that these routes are going to run based off of this film, right? You can go to the whiteboard and draw it up exactly like this. And see what you need to do differently, or see what you need to continue to do over and over again in order to make that play work. Okay. Run straight ahead. Perfect. I'm going to say this is a pass. Crossing routes, mesh, sideline to sideline, top to bottom. Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. There's your mesh, and here's your receivers going to the edge, so you got to keep up with them, right? Do they do that perfectly? Absolutely. Without question, this is exactly the way you need to frame this up, and then go find the ball. Okay? Can the coaches see why mesh works? Yeah. Can the players see what they can do differently to make that play, better? Yeah. Can the defensive guys see what they need to change in order to, try to stop mesh, right? Good luck. A lot of teams try. Many will try. few will succeed. Wow. Cool. Awesome. So good. I've seen filmers get tighter and stay tighter throughout the entire game, but this Raiders filmer just limits any mistakes, like any, right? Almost no mistakes throughout this entire game. And there's times when they can get tighter. There's times when, they can make slightly different decisions. Maybe. Uh, you know, I'm not questioning any of their decision making throughout this entire play. It just kind of comes down to execution at times, right? But I haven't even seen that in this entire game. Wow. Quarterback just trying to stay on his feet back here. Okay, but staying with the guys both directions, within 5 yards, both directions, the entire play. Yep. Okay. Awesome, awesome. Looking really good. Okay, here we go again. So good. The run recognition, starting to zoom out. No, I know it's a run going away from me. Of course, I don't need to zoom out on that, right? Again, not questioning this decision making at all. This is so good. Bam. Bam. Look at that, right? Safety on this side. Safety's coming up hard. What happens then? Well, corner takes that side, right? Now the corner's there. Now the quarterback's still in the shot. If he's going to roll out and keep the ball, he can do that, and we can still see all that in this exact frame, right? Quarterback's still there. Safety's still here. Corner's still on this side. Somebody's coming up and making a play at this point, right? Number 97. Where did he come from? I don't know. I can go back and watch it, right? And you can, and it's all right there. Anybody wants to see anybody on that play can go back and watch that so perfectly. And this, right? At what point do they decide to move the camera? Not here, not here, right there. Guy hits the edge, right? But it's a run, and they've already allowed the run to develop, and now they're zooming in to cut that guy out completely anyway. This is so usable for everyone on the field. Everybody gets to watch everybody. Everybody gets to watch everybody on that, right? 22 guys in the shot. We all get to watch exactly what happened. Same here. Man, this filmer's dialed in. Okay. Pass. 3rd and 8. Okay. Hold up here. All right. Can we keep this any tighter? Right. Within 5 yards behind the quarterback. Not sure how many yards behind the defender on this side. Right. Ball's away. No, you can't get any tighter than that because they actually saw where the ball was thrown to. Somebody, was supposed to be to the corner of the end zone, apparently. The filmer knew it more than the receiver did, right? Wow. Yeah. Let's just count that as excellent, right? Great job. Roll out. Okay. Wow. And he's in. Okay. Let's just see that for a second. Right here. Okay. Has anything changed? No. Can you watch all this blocking exactly the way it is? Yes. Can I see every detail of foot placement, hand placement, numbers, routes? Is there anybody running routes out here? Yes. Is there a fake handoff to this running back? Yes. Okay. Did anything change in this frame? Absolutely not. Nothing's changed. It's all happening right here in the middle of the frame, and we can just keep it there. And now we have to roll out with the quarterback, and that's fine too. Quarterback rolling out this direction, even better, right? Because we can see it, and we can see that he's heading for the corner of the end zone, and we're going to get out there to see it, and then we're going to stop and then come back in to see it even more. I say we. I mean this Raiders filmer who, is top of the line, expert level stuff. Okay. I didn't do any of it. He did. Or she. I don't even know who it is. Okay. And whoever's doing it, kudos to you. Wow. So good. Straight ahead. Oh, nice run. So good. I get to watch that. That was such a great play. And I got to watch all of it, and the blocking and the spin move and all of that. Because the filmer set it up correctly, let it play out, let the events take place on the field, didn't interject anything into it until they were needed, right? Okay, top to bottom. Okay, balls away, and then go find it. So good. Is it still so good? Yeah. 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 Like, what more do you want from it? Right? You want 2 yards on both sides, 5 yards total on a play that spans 50 yards, 45 yards. The level of excellence on display every single play is top of the line. So good. I'm so excited that I got to watch this film. Okay, sideline to sideline. So good. Okay, did they get the first down? Yeah. No. No, they didn't. Nope. Kneeling on it. Okay. Cool. Okay, finishing out the game. 34-10. Raiders wanted to get one more score on the board before the game ended, but ultimately wouldn't have made a difference on this one. Victory. Best play in football. There it is. And one more to finish it out. Boom. Okay, game. And so that puts this game at 144 plays with 143 positive plays. There was one time that the guy ran off the edge. And so, that was it. 67% of the time is excellent work, where you really can't do it any better than that, within 5 yards in both directions, and that's pretty dang impressive. So the total, 106.04% for the Las Vegas Raiders from week 17 of 2025. Fantastic work. Great job. So good. And would love to see more of that for 2026. Until then, this is Cameraman Grades.